Welcome back to the Parallel Universe. I'm your host, Logan Bruce, and in the Square Table Studio via the internet, we have Tony Dawkins, a creator over at Saturday AM, the world's most diverse manga anthology. Tony, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing excellent, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. Thank you so very much for joining me here on the Parallel Universe.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. My pleasure always. I love you guys over there at Saturday AM. So you started creating with Saturday AM. You have a book, Titan King. Tell
Yes.
us a little bit about Titan King and how that got started and everything. And well, let's start with how you got started with writing and drawing and everything. Let's cover it out.
Okay. So in terms of drawing, I have been drawing ever since I could hold a pencil. I mean, I I vividly remember being a kid and you're gonna hear that scratch at the back door. That's just my dog. She cannot stand being away from me, and she sees the door closed. She's like, nah, you gotta let me in here. But
You know, fans over here, the Parallel Universe. So if she's not going to bother you, she doesn't bother us. If you want to let her in, that's fine. She can be in there with you, no problem
beautiful.
at all. So if you want to let her in, we can make it work. That's no problem.
Sure
Let her
thing.
on.
Give me 2 seconds. Yep.
Yeah, let her on in. Let her on in.
All right.
All
So here
right,
comes
all right.
come on.
Yeah, you can
Just
introduce her. You can introduce. Yeah, all right.
yeah, she goes. Yeah, she like being in the mix, but she
I
don't like being
understand that.
away for too long.
Hey
She don't
man,
like barriers.
I get that, man. I wouldn't be surprised if you see my ferret, if she doesn't come up here and get in the camera too. So yeah,
Okay,
no worries, no worries. That's perfect, man. We love animals. All right,
beautiful.
that's great.
But yeah. So I vividly remember being a kid, just getting all kind of whether that be colored pencils or crayons or paints or anything of that nature. I vividly remember just always loving colors and just seeing Marvel heroes, Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, just seeing all these different diverse mediums, even cartoons, and I just think I just took it and ran with it. You know what I mean? I've always really liked crafting my own stories. I've always liked just that vibrant energy. So over time, I ended up coming up with Titan King. I had been in this group with Saturday AM. It was the original group before they did the Summer of Manga was this Facebook group page called Pilot Manga. And
Okay.
in this group, there was a lot of us artists that are actually artists today. You have Christina Anabak, who does Grimheim. She was also in that group. There's several other creators that were in that group, but I went through a Summer of Manga competition with a story called Blaze Reborn. And through development with that, it wasn't working out. So Fred and I, decided to go back to the drawing board, and I had a concept already that I was thinking about, which was Titan King. So I brought him the idea. I pitched him, me trying to do the series. He liked it, and then I started doing development with Peter Doney and Austin and several other creators at Saturday AM. And I was able to kind of put together something that I feel like is a pretty exciting series, especially for young adults. So but yeah, it definitely was a road and a process, but we're happy to be here.
Oh, yeah, that's great, man. And when I started reading Titan King from the very first page, I was hooked. When I started reading it and got the concept about it, I was like, "Oh man, this is like Pokemon on steroids."
Yeah.
I was feeling it. The whole. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm gonna have to give a little bit of spoilers away with the book. The whole tournament idea and you having to bond with your Titan. And I love that whole concept because a lot of sometimes the story, you have a certain creature or weapon or something, and
Mhm.
that's all it is. But here with Titan King, it's more than that, and even the main Titan, Rex Leo, he even talks about that. And it took the antagonist, and he was like, "Oh man, I didn't even think, Eli, he said, I didn't even think that Titans felt that way." I mean, I love that the Titans have their own personality and they're not just robots used in fighting. That's amazing and that's great, man. So that concept is
Thank you.
beautiful. Uh, so can you tell us a little bit how you just started developing it and what was your thought process when you know say, okay, I'm going to do Titan King, and you know what things came to your mind to kind of influence you to develop Titan King?
So for me, Titan King was, so I knew that when I was going to come to a series, if it was going to be something that I was going to do long term, it had to be something that I was going to be passionate about and something that I could always have a new angle to come at it. So that way, no matter how long it takes me to do the series, I'll always be able to adapt to the times and be able to adapt to what's happening around me to kind of enhance the story and make it feel a little bit more, just make it a little bit more engaging. So for me, that being the case, I still wanted to be able to bring a lot of the feelings and a lot of the things that inspired me as a kid. You know what I mean? Like seeing Cartoon Network cartoons, Nickelodeon, you know what I'm saying, cartoons, seeing superhero movies. I mean, obviously, like, with my age demographic, the big superhero movie that came out was the Spider-Man Tobey Maguire movies, the Spider-Man trilogy from the early 2000s. That was like the big superhero movie back in the day. So, seeing those, and again, being a huge fan of Dragon Ball Z, I've always felt like Akira Toriyama was just ahead of his time, like when it comes to his artwork and just his ability to tell a story that, even though it isn't the most, like, there's not a crazy amount of substance, there's still enough to where the battles and the world and the quirky characters, you're engaged in it. And I wanted to take a lot of those cues from him. And again, I've always also just been a fan of just like, animals as a whole. And I love seeing when you have those characters in anime that have those animalistic powers or like an animal sidekick. And then you see, like those badass moments, for example, like Tamari, where she has that little ferret that has the scythe that comes out, or even the ninja dogs, or even just, Kurama or Godzilla. Like I've always been a fan of, monster fights. So I just figured just put them together in a way that I don't think has really been done before, as far as I know. I think that was just something that was just gonna be fun. So
yeah, hey man, I love it because when I started, like I said, when I started reading, I was hooked on from page one, and I just loved it, man. It's great. I got volume one, and I actually won volume three, but I haven't bought volume two, so I got to get volume, so I can go ahead and read that, and then jump right into volume three because I got to see how this ends. Because it already, like, I mean, I'm hooked, and so many of the creators over there at Saturday AM, once you start reading their manga, it's hard to put it down. From Jay Olden and Hammer, and of course White Manga with Apple Black, Fred Torgen with Gunhild and Clock Striker, and I mean, I cannot put, once I start, man, it takes a lot for me to. I have to force myself to put it down because I'm like, oh man, I got something I got to do. I got to go to the store. I got to get ready for work tomorrow. So I have to force myself to put it down because it is so good and then it is so engaging, man. Y'all, and I'm guessing that's part of the allure and the magic of Saturday AM. I had different conversations with Fred, and he also, talks about the creation, but also the more than that, how to meet deadlines and things of this nature. He tried, So I really love what you guys are doing over there at Saturday AM. So tell us just a little bit about your experience with Saturday AM now that you're a full-time creator with them, and your experience with Saturday AM and how they help you to grow and develop as a creator.
Yeah, I feel like Saturday AM is definitely a character tester in terms of, do you actually want to do this? Because I think that the one thing that I really appreciate that we go through in this company is that you see the real side of the industry and how promotion works, how deals work, and how things of that nature works, to see how to not just make, a story that you personally like, but something that can actually resonate with, the masses. So I think that when it comes to working with Saturday AM, they're good at nurturing, creativity, and they're really good at, nurturing new ideas. But I think that the challenge that comes a lot of the times is being able to do it in a way to where it is competently pulled off. And I appreciate the dedication to, quality. I mean, obviously everything is not perfect. Everything is not always going to be, rainbows and roses, but we try our best. And I feel like we haven't produced a piece of content yet that I can't say isn't respectable. So, everything that we have produced, I feel really, really proud of. So, yeah, I obviously, it's, you got your rough days, you got your days that are better than others, but all in all, it's, it's a team effort. It's one of those things where, you feel a part of that community, whether that be your creator, you're working behind the scenes, you're working, with social media like Jackie. I think that, all in all, there's a sense of community, and you just got to be, aware of it. And I feel like most of our fans are well aware of it.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful, man. Uh, I was talking with White Manga the other day. He joined me here in the Square Table Studios, and he mentioned something that you said as well, about doing this and seeing if this is something that you want to do. Because I know, like, and I was talking with him. I might have been talking to Sweet Tooth Eddie, another artist with Saturday AM, and there's a lot of stuff that people who may not like, especially me, who don't know the things that go on behind the scenes. And that's something that I never thought about. I was just thinking, hey, well, if you can draw or can tell a story, hey, that's what you should do. You can do it. But at the same time, they were saying, both of them were saying that, hey, you may not want to do this full time. You just may want to write a story and that'll be it. This is, you may not want to be a creator. And do things long term. And I think that's beautiful that Saturday AM actually teaches that. It's just not, hey, you come in and write a story, hey, good, here's a check and you out. Hey, do you really want to do this? And I love the fact that they teach you the behind the scenes things that go on. Because I can't imagine that other places do that. They may just say, hey, you're a writer and an artist, you stay in the booth and write and draw. But Saturday AM shows, hey, look, this is how you got to meet deadlines. This is promotion. This is, the other aspects of the game. So that is a wonderful, wonderful thing that you guys do over there at Saturday AM. So man, it's just wonderful. I just love talking. And every time I talk with you, a creator from Saturday AM, I get a different answer about what Saturday AM did for them and how they helped them. So that's a beautiful, broad and wide range of help and nurturing and, helping the creators get to a different level. So let me ask you this. Can you see where you may have improved in some of your drawing from when you were younger to now and how you draw things or how you can put things together to tell a story?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think that when I first started, like when I really first started making comics, all I was doing is just, my version of Dragon Ball, my version of Naruto, my version of Bleach, or whatever I saw that I just really spoke to me at the time. But it wasn't, I think, until I started having to try and compete and trying to stand out in terms of my story that I really started to pay attention to like the details, like, drawing backgrounds and, characterization and knowing what to show and what to tell and things of that nature. And also being able to be conscious of, back in the day, I'm just drawing pages because I have an unlimited amount of space and, the freedom to post wherever I want to post and do whatever I want to do. But when you have a schedule, you have a really specific story that you're telling, that you're not, going all over the place, and you have a certain amount of pages you can tell it in, a certain amount of volumes you can tell it in, then you're a lot more focused on maximizing potential of every single page. So that, I think, just nothing but a strength that you can be able to put in your back pocket, is learning how to be able to maximize your time and your usage of your page in terms of just spacing, art, things of that nature. Because obviously you want to be able to give the time for certain scenes to be able to breathe, but you also want to be able to, you know, have those big panels to where you can actually be able to evoke a certain emotion with certain scenes. So that's definitely one of the big things I've seen that I've improved. But I mean, overall, you know what I'm saying, as an artist, as long as you keep drawing and you keep on staying at it, you should constantly improve. It's virtually impossible to do the same thing over and over and over again and not even get a little bit better at it. You know what I mean?
No, I feel that, man. I definitely can understand that. You know, and that's something. Here again, someone on the outside looking in that you don't know about, like you said, maximizing the space that you have in the panel. And you know, you mentioned something, letting something breathe. And I'm like, when you said, I was like, okay, I understand what that means. So when you read in a panel and you get to you get a chance to kind of digest what you just read and saw.
Mm.
See, those are the kind of things that people like me who can't draw and, and can't write or anything like that don't know. And we don't, you know, we just, you know, in my mind, you just draw and what you want to draw, but you got to remember that you're telling a story, and the panels can tell the story along with what is written. So, man, that is a wonderful I guess advice or something that you can teach others. So, on that note, if someone came to you and said, "Hey, Tony, Miss Dawkins, what advice can you give me? Because I want to, you know, I want to draw, I want to write. So can you help me? What advice would you give someone who is trying to break into this kind of a genre, is making manga or comic books?
I mean, it's gonna sound cliche, but the best thing you can do is start. I mean, there's no right way or wrong way to get into it. I know that some people, they say you should learn how to draw first, you should learn how to write first, you should figure out if you're really just an artist, you should figure out if you're really just a writer, and figure out what it is that your creative forte is. For me, I think that you just kind of have to test the waters and see what it is that you like. Like if you're like me, I was very hard-headed. I needed to draw and write. So as much as, you know, people would tell me the story would suck or the art wasn't up to par, I was always committed to making sure that I was able to get better so that way I can get up to par to be able to do the things that I wanted to do. Like I never, and that's another thing, is that you got to be honest with yourself throughout the process. I think the more honest you are with yourself as you grow and as things progress, the easier I think it is for you to hit your targets, because instead of you deluding yourself with, you know, I'm going to be drawing like, you know, Yusuke Murata by next month. I mean, that's not realistic for most artists. You know what I mean? That's a generational talent. You're putting 30 days on you to be able to get what took him decades to acquire. You know what I mean? So it's also just being realistic with yourself in terms of your progress and what you want to do. But yeah, I think that again, the best thing you can do is just start, be honest with yourself, and be consistent. Do it every single day. Do it as often as you can. And as long as you stack, you know what I'm saying, you stack up those chips, you know what I'm saying, a rocket ship, in order for it to be able to get into space, it can't stop and take a break, you know what I'm saying, chill in the middle of the sky and then continue to go on this into space. It's got to keep on going up and build on that momentum. And then once you get into space, that's where you can coast. So.
Oh man, I love that, man. That's beautiful right there, man. Honest with yourself. Start, be honest, and keep going. Hey man, hey, that's wonderful advice, man. So have you had anyone come up to you as of yet and ask that question, you know, to give advice to them? So have you had that happen with you before?
Oh yeah. Usually if I, you know, I run into somebody who knows that I'm an artist, and they themselves, especially if they themselves are an artist, they'll ask me tips. You know, my brother, his girlfriend is an artist, and when she found out, you know, what it was I was doing, she was asking me for tips. And I mean, to me, it's kind of weird because like I feel like I have so much more to go, so I don't feel right giving people advice because I'm still learning. You know what I mean? I'm still trying to improve and I'm still trying to be better. So I can only say what works for me. But at the same time, you know, I do like trying to help. You know what I mean? If there's something that maybe you're struggling with and I'm able to, you know, give you a quick tip or two, and that's able to solve your problem. I mean, I'm happy to help. I mean, I had an assistant, Jack, who helped me with volume 3. He was asking me because he was struggling with getting tones to look consistent on his page to where it was having this patchy type of look when he would end up getting it in print. And for me, when it comes to Titan King and I do the tones, I don't actually use traditional tones, because my logic is that if I use the traditional tones, if you zoom out at a certain look at a certain magnitude, the patterns are going to show, and that's what's going to give you that little gradient look or that textured look on some of the patches. If you look in the early pages of volume 1, you kind of see what it is I'm talking about with some of those patchier kind of tones. But in order to solidify that, instead of using the opacity of the tone, I just use the opacity of just the color black. So that way it's a solid color black. And that way there's no gaps. There's no way for it to be able, whether you zoom in, zoom out, it doesn't matter what you do. It's a solid color black that's at the proper opacity. That way you're able to, kind of mimic the tone. That's going to be something that's more so for people who are digital artists that'll kind of understand what it is I'm talking about. Saying that was more so just Clip Studio gibberish, but that's kind of like an example of what I mean. Like there's little tips that help me that if I'm able to help you, great. But, I don't consider myself a master at all.
Well, that's very humble of you to feel that way, and say, hey, I'm still learning myself, man. That's a very humble attitude. And someone who is humble can be, can grow because they're teachable. So that's a wonderful quality to have. So that's great, man. So how far do you want Titan King to go? I know everyone wants, their creation to blow up and be, wonderful. So let me ask you that. So what do you want? Where do you want Titan King to go? What do you hope to see Titan King and everything, man?
In a perfect world, Titan King would go on forever, man. I have so many ideas, so many different places I want to go, so many different concepts I want to introduce. But realistically, if we're just talking about the main story of Titan King, the initial main story, I would say, would be about 4 volumes. I think four volumes, I think, will kind of be enough of a journey to where you'll kind of see what the vision is. And who knows, from there, once we finish that 4th volume, if people are really, really rocking with Titan King, I would be happy, to continue and get into the next saga, but I think, I think one step at a time. I think right now, the first thing and the primary thing I want to do is I want to be able to finish this. So let's get to volume 4.
I hear you, man. I like that. I like that attitude, man. You ain't gonna eat too much. You eat just enough. And then, once that digests a little bit, we going back for seconds and we're gonna keep this thing moving. Oh, yes, man, that'd be beautiful. So Tony, tell everyone where they can find Titan King and find maybe your artwork and find you if they would love to reach out to you for any questions or support you. Just say thank you. So where can they find you and where can they find Titan King?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram. That's really the main place that I post is Instagram at Titan King Official. You can find Titan King at Saturday-am.com. You can just go to the Titan King page. You'll be able to see the volumes there. Or you can go any place that sells manga. They'll be able to order you the book for you. Or you can go online and go to any digital store that sells manga. You'll be able to see Titan King there.
All right, awesome. So Titan King, Tony Dawkins with Saturday AM, man. Thank you so much once again for being here, man. We really appreciate you. I know that you guys are super busy. I know there's a lot of things coming out with Saturday AM, so I know you guys are super busy over there. So I just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and hang out with me and talk to me about you and your journey and Titan King and Saturday AM. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. So you heard him here. We can get Titan King from check out Tony Dawkins, Titan King at Saturday AM. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate it. And as always, we'll see you in the parallel universe.